Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I'm so happy you're with us today. We enter our lives on earth with a primary purpose, which I think for just about all of us is our only purpose, and that's to learn and grow spiritually. In fact, simply following the teachings of Jesus is the easiest and the most effective way for just about all of us to achieve rapid spiritual growth. And since none of the more than 40,000 odd denominations of Christianity will make any effort to teach what Jesus taught, most people simply aren't making the kind of spiritual progress in this lifetime that we all hope to make. One of the biggest ways that we can change that, of course, is just to altogether end the fear of death worldwide, since fear of death is the base fear. And when we no longer fear death, we no longer fear anything. And frankly, that means that our spiritual growth will begin to happen naturally. But people ask us, what is spiritual growth anyway? Well, we're going to talk about that today. It turns out that spiritual growth can be almost a mechanical process, and we're going to talk about that too. We're going to give you some tips that will empower you to make this your last necessary Earth lifetime. Frankly, there's nobody better equipped to help me tackle this really basic key topic than our wonderful friend, Dr. R. Craig Hogan. And he's with us, believe it or not, for the 37th time. As you already know, Craig is the world's leading expert on death and the afterlife and on the greater reality where our eternal lives all take place. And he is my senior partner in Seek Reality Online, which is the easiest and best way for you to end your fear of death by teaching you how really death happens, where it happens, and everything you need to know about death. It's turning out, in fact, to be a lot of fun for us to start this key process in place for you to learn all about death and the afterlife. Craig and I today are going to give you the 5 indispensable tips that are going to help you to understand all about growing spiritually, and it will help you, frankly, to make this your last necessary Earth lifetime. I don't care how old you are. In fact, even if you're as old as we are, and we're pretty old, even if you're 80 or even 90 years old, if you're in reasonable health, you still have time. You can make this your last Earth lifetime. Craig, welcome. It's really wonderful to have you here today. I almost feel you're my co-host here now.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to today because there's so much that we can say about growing spiritually, and people don't understand what that means. They think it's going to be connected with some religion somehow, and it doesn't have to be. It's something which is personal between us and the mind of God, the universe, and all we have to do is take advantage of that intimate connection that we have, and then we can have lives that are full of love, peace, and joy.
It's fun. That's the great thing. So much of what people worry about, really, they don't have to worry about because it's frankly fun. That's why I have fun in all of the titles of all of my books. Let's talk about, frankly, what spiritual growth even is.
Yeah, it's most people don't understand spiritual growth. They assume that it means getting better at a religion.
Yeah, I talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that is not what it is. Spiritual growth is very much in our best interests. It is enabling us to live lives that are full of joy. We shouldn't have to have problems in our lives, and we were not meant to. We're meant to grow out of it. So we have to come to the process, to the condition when we start to grow out of what we were taught as children, because most of that was full of ignorance and superstition. And when we grow out of that, then we come into what we're meant to have, which is a paradise on earth. We are meant to live in a heaven on earth now. We don't have to wait until after death to be able to enter this heaven on earth. Heaven on earth is available to us now. As Jesus said in the Gospel of Thomas, the kingdom of heaven is spread out upon the face of the earth, and men do not see it. It's here, and all we have to do is take advantage of that. So we will live lives full of love and peace and joy, and all we need to do is to understand how to do that. And that's what we need to help people to understand.
Many people, just have an aversion. A lot of people have frankly been turned off even to think about the word gospel. So let's talk about it from a different direction. Let's talk about it from the direction of Max Planck. I mean, he won the 1918 Nobel Prize for having discovered quantum mechanics. And he discovered, frankly, that consciousness is the base creative force, even though this is something that to this day, the scientific gatekeepers won't admit. Consciousness is essentially what makes everything. Talk about that. I mean, consciousness, at its lowest vibration, consciousness is all the ishy emotions. It's fear, it's anger, it's hatred, and it vibrates at a very slow rate. But consciousness at its highest vibration is perfect love. And essentially what we're doing when we talk about spiritual growth is raising our personal consciousness vibration. That's really all we're talking about.
Yeah, we're coming into where we were destined to go. There is a phenomenon, it's called syntropy. It's the opposite of entropy. Syntropy meaning that there are things that are coming towards us that are good for us, that it will give us that love, peace, and joy. All we need to do is make them available to us. All we have to do is pay attention to them. As far as consciousness is concerned, Amit Goswami, the nuclear physicist, was really very concerned about his life and about how he was running rat races in his professional career. And it occurred to him when he was at a conference and he was just unhappy because his presentation didn't go well. And he walked out into nature and he had a sudden realization of what we know to be true. He said, there is nothing but God. There is nothing but God.
Beautiful.
Everything is God.
Oh, how beautiful.
And all we need to do is immerse ourselves, rather like immersing into a warm bath. All we need to do is immerse ourselves into this life, and we then will have that love, peace, and joy, which is our inheritance. It is our right to have it. And all we need to do is take advantage of it.
Essentially, that's what's at the core of most of the positive near-death experiences, too. Being suddenly immersed in the awareness that there's nothing but love, nothing but joy. And when people have these that sort of God moments, they're struck by these eternal moments, these senses of eternal feelings. That's what they essentially are. These moments of awareness. When Max Planck had that, he suddenly realized. He said, we can't get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we believe exists, it has at its base consciousness. And that's really what we are trying to do as well. When we talk about spiritual growth, we are just raising our awareness, raising what we think of as who we are, raising our vibration, our sense of awareness, raising the level of that. In this culture, we have no awareness that it even matters where our vibration is, but it's essentially everything. And we are careless of that in everything that's around us, in our entertainments, in going to church, in anything that we do. We think it doesn't matter where that vibration is in the people that we associate with. But it does. It's essential that vibration not be low, not be that we not be filling our minds with garbage, but that we be raising our entertainments and what we put into our minds. It's very important that we be elevating our minds. And I think it's time that people stop and think about what we put into our minds and what we surround ourselves with, because that is essentially who we are, what we are. It's like drinking poison to put negativity into our minds and into our children's minds as well. I don't know how much plainer to put it, but all of this is essential to making us and making our children who we are.
And we will be able to do that if we simply pay attention to what it is that is going on with us. We were put on clothing as we grew up as children, and we put on various types of mental clothing, of psychological clothing, and we put on certain jackets and put on certain pants, and those things that we grew up with that we put on, we didn't realize we were putting them on because we simply were reared that way. But now that we can look at ourselves in the mirror and we can say, how do I feel about that jacket that I was given as a child? And we can say, no, that jacket is making me miserable. It's making me fearful. It's interfering with my relationship with other people. And I'm going to take that jacket off. And that pair of pants, that ugly pair of pants that we have, that is conditioned us to believe things that are not true about life, about other people, about ourselves. All we need to do is take them off. And if we can start as the adults that we are now to look at ourselves and take off what we learned as childhood, then what will happen is what we find underneath it is a beautiful, wonderful, full-bodied person who's full of love and joy. And all we need to do is take off those raiments and allow that person to come through.
Yes. So in essence, what we're talking about is something very important. We will talk later about why we come here to do this and why it's important to us in our eternal lives, very important to us to raise our vibration. But let's talk now about 5 central things that we must do in this life to raise our vibration. And a lot of people are going to go, oh, you really are not serious. You don't think we really are going to want to do this in our lives. Oh, yes, these are very important. The first of the 5 recommendations we're going to make is to stop all violent or negative entertainments and things that we put into our minds. And we're very serious about this. The first thing you've got to do is stop all the negative video games. And right now we've lost half the audience. I know that's true. All the negative video games, negative movies, violent movies. I have not watched TV in more than 20 years. I don't care what it is. It could be sitcoms. It could be news. I mean, horrible. My husband still watches the news. I don't watch it. It's awful. It's terrible. And frankly, if things are going on that are negative in the world, I don't want to know about them, because if I can't do anything about them, there's no point in my finding out about them. Occasionally, it does leak in at the dinner table, but we try to ban all that, even talking about it, because if I can't fix it, why should I know about it? I mean, apparently there was a war somewhere, and I don't even want to know about it. I can't fix it. I don't want to know.
Yeah, and I think we need to moderate that. We are going to be exposed to these things in various phenomena, and we can moderate them so that we can say, if we're learning about a war someplace and it begins to oppress us, begins to make us feel bad, then we can moderate that by simply saying, that is something that I'm not going to entertain, so I'm going to take that out of my life, and I'm not going to watch it. We can still have a television, we can still do things that are involved in our daily lives and everyone's daily lives, but we can moderate them by saying, this is beginning to make me feel bad. This is beginning to make me feel depressed. This is beginning to drag me down. And so that thing I'm going to take out of my life. And so we can extract things that we feel are really having a difference for us.
The last movie I watched was Avatar, but I didn't watch it in a movie house. Apparently it's beautiful. I was curious about it, and people told me about it, and I did watch it on my TV, and I thought it was